The Answer to the Warren Report Critics, The Truth About the Assassination by Charles Roberts, forward by Pierre Salinger. An eyewitness reporter's documented point-by-point study and explanation of controversial questions surrounding the murder of President Kennedy. Answers to the innuendos, suspicions, and charges that have caused confusion and doubt around the world. Copyright 1967. Grosset and Dunlap, Publishers, New York. Preface. In 1887, 22 years after his assassination, Abraham Lincoln's coffin was pried open for inspection of his body, not to determine whether he had died of a bullet fired from John Wilkes Booth's Derringer, but to ascertain whether he was in the casket. Following an attempt to steal his body in 1876, a rumor had swept the country that his coffin was empty. A select group of witnesses observed that the rumor was false, then watched as the coffin was resealed with lead. In 1901, 36 years after his death, the martyred president's coffin was ripped open again, this time in the presence of more witnesses. The second opening, over the protest of Lincoln's son Robert, was for the same grim purpose, to make sure the now withered body of Lincoln was in the casket before it was permanently embedded in a crypt at Springfield. The explanation for this ghoulish, grotesque ceremony was the same. Rumors had again implanted doubts in the public mind. State and city officials felt the rumors should be laid to rest along with the Civil War president. President John F. Kennedy's body has not yet been enshrined. Before it is, chances are there will be a demand that he be disinterred for inspection. After that, according to the present indications, some citizen will insist that the inspection was fraudulent, perhaps because he wasn't there. If this sounds far-fetched, a reader need only to explore the present literature on President Kennedy's assassination and the present state of U.S. public opinion to satisfy himself that it isn't. On the one hand, there's the report of the President's Commission on the Assassination of President John F. Kennedy, commonly known as the Warren Commission Report. Buttressed by 26 volumes of evidence, it is not only a massive document, but a truthful and reasonable document that commands the respect of legal scholars throughout the world. On the other hand are a dozen books, and the number is growing, questioning and seeking to undermine the Warren Commission's findings. At the moment, in sales and popularity, the critics of the Commission have the upper hand. Their works have launched 1,000 rumors and conjectures of criminal conspiracy and cover-up. The purpose of this book is not to forestall, though God forbid, an exhumation of Kennedy's body next year or in 1985. Nor is its purpose to defend the Warren Commission, though its conclusions often parallel those of the Commission. Rather, it attempts to examine coolly and critically some of the odd theories and rumors that have burgeoned since Kennedy's murder, looking at the whole record. If it only puts into better perspective the monumental and generally unappreciated task performed by the Commission, if it only gives pause to those who are about to buy unfounded, far-out theories of the assassination, then I will be satisfied. Its only aim is the truth. Unlike most of the anti-Warren books, based largely on the Commission's own record, this one was written from my experience as a White House correspondent who rode in the presidential motorcade that fearful day in Dallas, as well as from the Commission's report and hearings and from interviews with participants in the sickening drama. My presence in Dallas that day gives me no credentials as a legal scholar, but it kindled in me a desire to learn the absolute truth, a motive that may be lacking in some of the Commission's critics. All quotations credited to William Manchester are taken from The Death of a President as serialized in Look magazine. Though Newsweek may not share all my views and is specifically absolved of responsibility thereof, this effort would not have been possible without its understanding and cooperation. Beyond that, space permits me to acknowledge the efforts of only a few friends who have been most helpful: Hugh Ainsworth, Lenore Cooper, Terry Sane, Fred Hicks, and oh yes, my de facto editor-in-chief, my wife, Mary. Charles Roberts, Bethesda, Maryland. Contents: Preface, Forward by Pierre Salinger. Chapter 1, Dallas Eyewitnesses, Who Saw What. Chapter 2, Dallas with Hindsight, Are Facts Important. Chapter 3, The Grassy Knoll, Gunman or Chimera. Chapter 4, The Throat Wound, Entrance or Exit. Chapter 5, Bullet 399, Magic or Real. Chapter 6, J.D. Tippett, Conspirator or Hero. Chapter 7, Jack Ruby, Hired Killer. Chapter 8, The Carousel Meeting, Fact or Fiction. Chapter 9, The Great Conspiracy, Who's in Charge. Chapter 10, The LBJ Takeover, Rough or Smooth. Chapter 11, The Critics, Scholars or Scavengers. Forward by Pierre Salinger. No single subject has caused such debate or created such controversy in the past 3 years as the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Even before any official investigation had started, most of the world, not then including the United States, accepted as fact that the president had been the victim of a conspiracy. Now, with the outpouring of books on the subject, the United States itself has been added to the list of countries where there are serious reservations on the facts surrounding the president's death. It has been my belief, and it is still my belief, that the Warren Commission performed a difficult assignment honorably and well, and that it accurately pinpointed the assassin of John F. Kennedy. It is the very thoroughness of the Warren Commission that has caused its problems. It listened patiently to everyone, no matter how credible or incredible the testimony. It then appended all this testimony to its report, providing an opportunity to anyone with a typewriter and a lot of time on his hands to write a book on the subject. The result has been shocking. The books about the Warren Commission divide into 3 categories. Those written with a scholarly approach to whom we must attribute the best motive, those written by persons with a desire for notoriety or money, and those written by persons who clearly have to be labeled as psychotic. Even those who have written in the name of scholarship have carefully either ignored or underlined testimony in the Warren Commission report to buttress whatever theory they have decided to advance in their books. Those in the latter 2 categories are guilty of outright fabrication of testimony or hallucinatory theories which only demented minds can spawn. It is because these books have spread such doubts, or added to doubts already there, that this book by Charles Roberts is so important. Mr. Roberts has tried to sift fact from fiction. He has attempted, where possible, to match theories made to sound plausible with hard and incontrovertible evidence. But neither this book, nor any book like it, will ever still the doubts about the assassination of John F. Kennedy. It is indeed, in a way, a mark of how much the world cared for President Kennedy that produces such controversy. For many people, it is simply not within the realm of belief that this man of grace and ability could be taken from the world by a mindless psychopath. Nor is it, as some people suggest, a mark of lesser respect or love for the late president to accept this fact, hard as this may be. The damage that has been caused and the hatred that has been spawned by the muckrakers of the Kennedy assassination deserve, however, some careful answer. Up to now, they have pretty much had the field to themselves. Mr. Roberts, whose work I knew and admired during my tenure as press secretary to the late President Kennedy and to President Johnson, has come forward with a precise rebuttal to much that has been written and that is now firmly implanted in the public mind. In recent months, there have been a number of calls for a reopening of the Warren Commission investigation. In my opinion, those who have made such demands have not taken the time to make the kind of careful study made by Mr. Roberts. Had they done so, they would have arrived at the same conclusion that he did. That is, in fact, that not one shred of new evidence has been brought forth by anyone since the Warren Commission made its findings public, which would merit such a new hearing. It is a disservice to this nation to foster cynicism and doubt on the Kennedy assassination when there are already so many hate peddlers doing the same thing on so many subjects. Pierre Salinger, Bangkok, Thailand, February 1967.